college sports. Find out how a $2.8 billion settlement might let schools pay athletes directly. Grant Snowden is joined by Tim Fitzgerald to shed some light on the recent changes. Grant?
Thanks, Avery. And Tim, thanks for joining me today. Kind of just to start us off, how do you feel about schools being able to pay athletes directly?
Well, this is such a mess that has been set off by, court decisions and the NCAA's own inaction, but we're in the world now where athletes get paid. Now we just need some regulation to go with it, which the NCAA has passed on.
Yeah. And then how do you think this law might change, roster sizes, people losing scholarships, kind of things like that?
And the strangest thing to come out of this was a ruling that you can't limit scholarship numbers, which is odd to me. You can limit engineering scholarships, but apparently not athletics. So the NCAA's remedy to that is limit scholarships through roster size. So now you've got a roster cap, not a scholarship cap, but if you can't have them on, why would you have a scholarship? So that's their remedy, but going immediately to 105, which is the proposal, is awful brutal for a lot of student athletes who will just lose their spot, and I don't think that's what the court really wants to do.
Yeah, and kind of building off that, how do you think the school should go about deciding who gets paid and how much those players do get paid?
Well, I'm kind of hardliner on this. It's revenue sharing, and I think football players will get the majority of this, and men's basketball players followed by women's basketball players based on revenue generated. So yeah, I think everyone deserves something, but clearly, like NIL is function, it's going to really go to the people that are generating the revenue.
Yeah, and also kind of building off that NIL ruling, how do you feel like the deal being over $600 is too strict or is fair?
No, I think it's fair. One of the disconnects here was, if you leave a gray area, coaches will drive a bus through it. And name, image, and likeness is supposed to be getting paid to lend your name, image, or likeness, not just to get paid to show up at a school and play. That's still against NCAA rules, but they haven't been able to regulate it. This process would allow that, but man, it's a confusing process, and I don't know how equitable it'll be across the board.
Yeah. And to kind of quickly wrap us up, do you think these some smaller schools could be kicked out of D1 just because they can't keep up with the big brands?
I think we might be looking at a third division of D1. We have the FBS and FCS, and I think there's going to be something parked in between that honestly a K-State might fall in because this is a financial stress for a lot of institutions.
Yeah. Well, Fitz, thank you so much for joining us today. Avery, back to you.
Thanks, Grant.